Hey there, everybody. This is MegaTrain. Welcome back to Project Ozone LIte. And as you can see, since the last episode, we've done quite a bit of work in making some storage drawers. So we have a handful of, I guess, standalone or standard drawers over here, and a lot of compacting drawers. So we've got a set that have our ores in it, iron ore, gold ore, all the different ores that we were getting from the from our sifting. And basically every one of those translates into a metal. So once you smelt those ores up, you get all these different metals. And as you can see, the compacting drawer really gives you a lot of options in what, how you'd like to pull that out. So you can pull it out as a block, as an ingot, or as a nugget, just depending on what recipe you need this for. A couple of things that we will need to do today, though. If you look up here where we want to look, the drawer here that has our dust in it, totally full. So I did a lot of sifting. I did a lot of hammering on cobble down to our other block types. And although my my gravel has plenty of room because it's in a compacting drawer, and my sand has a lot of room because it's in a compacting drawer of its own as well. My dust does not compact, so even though I've got some dust in my inventory here, I can't do anything with it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make some storage upgrades. At this point, I think we'll use the gold upgrade, which I don't have in my inventory right now, but I do have to make these upgrade templates anyway. So let me make a few. Okay, went and got some gold, and we'll go ahead and craft a couple of upgrades now. I don't need 6, so I'll just take a couple. Get these back out. And the first upgrade, I'm going to put in my dust drawer. So I just right-clicked it in the drawer. You can also open up this interface and just drag it in there if you like. But now I should be able to right-click my dust, and I can put a lot more in there. The one other drawer that is full right now is a drawer that has sawdust in it. Sawdust you get from hammering wood. So I'm going to add a storage upgrade to that, and I'll be able to store more sawdust. So we'll show you a couple of things that we can do with sawdust today and where it might come in handy. But just to show you where we got it, just hammer our logs, and we get the mix of drop of both sawdust and, of course, our saplings and stuff like that. So we'll put those in there, and all our other materials. One other thing I'd like to show you here, take a close look on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see that it is now showing the actual compacting drawer contents. So this wasn't there in the last episode. I actually had to go and edit a config file on my hard drive. This is not possible just with the standard configuration. So if you're interested in knowing how to do that, basically the file that you're looking for is called the1probe.config. It is located in your Curse Instances Project Ozone LIte config folder, wherever that's located on your hard drive. And so the 1probe.config is the one that you're looking for. And the section that I altered, if I can find it here, is a list of blocks for which we automatically show chest contents even if not sneaking is the section. And basically I added storage drawers comp drawers is the compacting drawers. So not too hard to do. It took me a while to figure out how to do it, but now when I glance at my compacting drawers, I can actually see on the left-hand side of the screen the quantities of those different items. A little bit later on in the game, we're actually going to be able to create what is called a probe. And this one probe is actually going to let us see more than just the quantity of items. It'll let us see the names of the items. So once I get to a point, I've got redstone, I've got gold nuggets. Once I get quartz, I should be able to make the one probe so we can see even more. Speaking of quartz, we have an achievement that we'd like to get here, and that is the other drawer achievement called Storage Control. We've got our compacting drawers. The two other items here are a drawer controller and a controller slave. So let me put in controller. Unfortunately, both of those require quartz. So they both have comparators in them. They both require quartz. And I don't have any quartz right now. The normal place that you get quartz in this game is you go to the Nether and you get some quartz ore that way, but we are not going to the Nether. So where are we going to get quartz? So let's check out our options here. So under Nether quartz, we can craft it with Nether quartz essence, which comes from seeds, which can be built if we have at least a few Nether quartz to start. So that might help us get extra quartz if we have some, but that's not going to help us start off. All the rest of these are different ways to either compress or compact or break or smelt the quartz ore, so those aren't going to help us. You can pulverize quartz blocks and other kinds of things. That's not going to help us either. Let's keep going here. Loot bags. Eventually, we might start to get some in loot bags, so we'll look forward to that. But on the sieve tab, I can get nether quartz by sieving soul sand. Now, you've got to pay attention here. I can only do it with flint or with diamond. I cannot do it with iron. So if I go around back here, I've got my all my sieve array here. So I've got 4x4 of the iron stiffened mesh. I've got a couple of the flint stiffened mesh that I'll use for making quartz, and a couple of string that we'll use in just a second. Okay, so you're probably saying, well, MegaTrain, that doesn't help you. If you can't go to the Nether to get quartz, you certainly can't go to the Nether to get soul sand. Well, how can we make soul sand? All right, well, same problem here. I can make soul sand from essence, from seeds, from nether clusters, if I already have soul sand. So, again, if I start with some, that method might help me get more. But check out the fluid block transform here. If I use sand in a barrel with witch water, then I can get some soul sand. Well, all right, we're going down the rabbit hole here. How do I get witch water? I can get witch water in another fluid transform. If I put water in a barrel on the top of mycelium, I can get witch water. All right, way down the rabbit hole. How do I get mycelium? Unfortunately, this interface isn't going to help us here unless I had a metallurgic infuser or something, but we do have a way that we're going to do it. And let me show you what happens if we sift dirt. I think I passed by this really quick when we were looking through the interface the other day. But if I sieve dirt, I get all sorts of other interesting things. So I get pebbles, I get normal seeds, melon seeds, I get seeds that help me grow other wood types. But one of the options in this list is Ancient Spores. Ancient Spores is the one that's going to give me, basically I just right-click with Ancient Spores on dirt, and it's going to make mycelium. Same thing with grass seeds. All I need to do is right-click on dirt with grass seeds, and it makes a block of grass. So you can, in fact, dig up all of the grass in the center of your island without worrying about that. In the Skyblock vanilla world, that's a huge no-no because you need to use that grass for all sorts of things. But here in modded, I can always make more grass when I need to. All right, well, the problem is I've got some dirt that I've dug up there. I've got some that I've been using to grow trees. I really would like to make sure, though, that I have enough to do what I'm going to need to do. So we're going to make some dirt. All right, so how do we make dirt? Again, lots of ways to do it. How we're going to do it is by composting stuff. So basically, in a barrel, if we throw any of this stuff in there, that's going to turn into dirt. So fish, saplings, flowers, all sorts of stuff. Notice two things that we have a lot of. Sawdust. That's why I've been collecting it. We're going to throw sawdust into a barrel. We can also do that with leaves or with saplings. So right now we have quite a few saplings, 321. We also have over 600 sawdust. So that's going to enable us to get a lot more dirt, and then we can sift as much dirt as we need to get all the seeds that we need. So let me go ahead and we'll make some extra barrels here. They can be either wood barrels or stone barrels. The only real difference is that stone barrels can hold lava in addition to water. So later on in the game, we can do some other things with those. So the way that you use these, let me just grab a stack of saplings, is you just right-click these in here. And there's a progress bar on the left-hand side. You can see that it's composting that into dirt. You do the same thing with your sawdust. So pretty quickly we're going to be able to use a little bit better tools than hoppers to do this, but right now we'll use good old-fashioned hoppers here. So let me put that down here, put that here, I'll put this on top, I'll put that here. There we go. And I'll throw all that stuff in there. And can't see it very well, but this is composting dirt. Everyone that pulls out, oops, sorry, it's going to go into my chest here. So I'm going to go ahead and make some dirt, and then we're going to go ahead and come over here and sift it using my string mesh. And we'll see if we can get the mycelium seeds that we need. All right, we have a ton of stuff now. I've cleaned out the rest of my inventory just to show you what we could end up with. These are different kind of rocks, so you can make andesite, diorite, granite, or just cobble. 3 kinds of seeds: pumpkin, melon, sugarcane, and cactus seeds. If we need those later in the game. Potato and carrot seeds. These are a special kind of carrot seeds that we'll use for an achievement later. 6 different kinds of trees. And finally, my ancient spores and my grass seeds. So those are definitely going to be handy here. So let's grab our remaining dirt. And we're going to make some mycelium. We'll hold on to our other seed and just let that spread naturally. I threw all my stuff in a chest over here. And we will probably need a couple of buckets. One thing that you may have noticed here, this is an item from Pam's HarvestCraft called a well. And it is really cheap to make. It is literally just 3 stone and 6 iron. And basically what you can do with it is you can fill a bucket of water. That's it. And you can get as many out of there as you want. You can't automate it. You can't use pipes or any kind of automation to pull it out, but basically you anytime you want to fill it with water, you can do that pretty easily. So take a look at the progress bar on the left-hand side there. You can see that it is transforming this at 4 or 5% progress. So that's going to actually take quite a while to turn into the witch water. And then once we do that, we can throw sand in it and get our soul sand to get our quartz. So while we're doing that, let me show you a couple other things that we can get. If you start working with the drawers, there may come a time at which you find that you pull out all the items accidentally. So let's say I want to pull out some of these Yellorium ore to smelt up. Well, I just yanked out all of them, and now there's nothing marking that slot as where I want to put my Yellorium. So basically what I can do is make what's called a drawer key. And the drawer key, oh, I gotta go grab one of those. The drawer key basically locks the drawers. There are some other keys that are definitely going to be handy here, like a Quantified Key. A Quantified Key can show quantity labels on each item. That might be a little bit harder for us to get, but I think that we might go for it. So let me go ahead and throw all my seeds in a chest and get the materials we'll need, and we'll make up a key. Okay, our witch water is coming on along nicely. So all 4 barrels are now in the middle of transforming since our mycelium did spread there. Let's go ahead and craft up our key. Actually, let's craft up 2 of them, because we're going to use one of them to make something else in a minute here. So basically, if I lock the drawer, you can see the little keyhole on the top. Now, even if I pull out every single Yellorium ore that's in there, it still leaves it marked as Yellorium. So I can lock all these drawers. And once we get our quartz, I'll show you a faster way to do this here. But a much harder challenge here, if I see what I can do with this drawer key, is to make a Quantified Key. So I like to see really at a glance how much I have in each drawer. But I have to make this book and quill. So parts of this will be easy. So ink sac, it's pretty easy to make a Squid Farm in this game, so we'll do that pretty easily. Our book, we need paper and either leather, or we can actually use an alternate method here. These patterns are just made with wooden sticks, so those are easy to do. Paper, fortunately, can be made with either sugarcane or sawdust, so we can make that really, really easy. We'll make some paper there. What is going to be harder is the feather. So, yeah, if we have chicken seeds, we can grow feathers that way, but that requires feathers to start with, and that's not going to do us any good. So I actually had to do some research and look around and see what other ways we can do this. We could make a big old grass field and let them spawn, and probably will at what point. But let me show you another feature that comes from the same author as our little well here that we used a second ago. That is a ground trap. So a ground trap basically allows us to catch things if we put bait in them. And basically it doesn't actually catch animals, but it gives us drops as if we had caught animals. So let me actually pop open the web page. I'll give you the URL and the link, and I'll show you a few of the different kinds of things that we can catch. Okay, I'll make sure this URL is in the show notes. But basically, what we get out of the ground trap depends on what bait we put in. So we've got grain bait, fruit bait, and veggie bait. In our case, all 3 of them will give us feathers. All 3 of them will give you chicken. All 3 of them will give you eggs. but some of the rest of it will vary. Fruit bait is the only one that will give you raw rabbit. Grain bait is the only one that'll give you raw beef or raw turkey. Veggie bait's the only one that'll give you venison or mutton. So constructing the baits is pretty easy. You just need 1 string and 3 items. For veggie, you could use potatoes or carrots. For fruit, we're going to use apple, of course, and later on we'll be able to use wheat to make grain bait. So I think we'll start with apples, of course, but later on we'll use some other baits and spread them around. We'll keep these traps running just to continue bringing in materials throughout the game. So let's go ahead and make some ground traps. All right, so we've got to make some wooden trapdoors first. Let's see. I do not need that many, so we'll send those back. I've got a bunch of chests already, so we'll make 6 ground traps. And basically the way that these work is that they have to be surrounded on at least, they have to be touching at least 5 grass blocks. So I don't have any grass yet, but we'll lay some down and that will spread around. We have to bait them up. You put the bait in this left-hand side and all the good stuff will appear to the right. So we've got plenty of apples. Let me lock that drawer. So keep at least 3 apples so we can always grow more. I did that wrong. Keep at least 3 apples. Throw the 49 in there. Oh, I did it wrong again. Throw the 3 in there. Perfect. All right, so we want fruit bait, and we can do that this way. We've got a full stack of fruit bait, and all we need to do, let's divide it 6 ways. And we'll start throwing them in there. So as this grass spreads itself around, we'll be able to actually get some feathers and some leather and some meat if we want some, and hopefully enable us to get what we need there. All right. I don't think that works. That doesn't work here. I can actually, there's some other ways I can do that. All right, our witch water is good, so all we need to do is go get some sand. And we've got some soul sand now. I do not know how much I need, so we'll throw some more in there. And we'll sift this up. Where'd it go? And we'll see if we can get some quartz. Again, we have to use the flint stiffen mesh. 3 quartz. Oh, that's literally all I have so far. Alright, 6 quartz is not bad. That is actually enough for me to make my controller, my drawer controller. Alright, grabbed my redstone. We'll make some redstone torches. We can then make our comparators. So 4 should be good enough for now. Then we need a diamond. And what is the slave controller need there? The controller slave needs a gold nugget, a gold ingot, so we'll grab that as well. So 1 drawer controller, 1 controller slave. There we go. We actually get that reward. And now we can actually interact with these drawers a whole lot easier. Let me show you how this works. If I place this drawer controller in a central place, anything that is touching it within a distance of 12 blocks in any direction that is connected via drawers is basically part of the same system. So if I right-click the controller, every single one of these will either lock or unlock at the same time. Same thing if I actually point to, if I've got something that I can store, let me store my gold nugget. Instead of actually having to find the right one and right-click it here, I can just right-click the drawer controller. It goes straight into that. So a huge time saver and really helpful. If you double right-click, basically everything in your inventory that could possibly go in any drawer will go in there with one click. Now, the one thing you'll notice is my redstone did not go in there. That is because this section is not actually touching. So I'm going to have to stick either a drawer here in the corner here, or I can actually use what's called a piece of trim to connect those. Let me see. There we go. We'll just stick this over here to connect those two sections. Now they're connected. If I double right click that, my redstone goes away and gets stored in here. So the drawer controller is a huge huge advantage. Later on we can use this to do some nice automating as well. Let's check out what we got going on over here. Looks like we're already getting some nice stuff. We got a feather and leather in there. A couple of bones in here. You know what? If I were to guess, I would guess that they probably don't care about it being grass. Since that's actually working. So we got rabbit hide, raw rabbit, a couple of chicken. So these are pretty nice. And already we've got a couple of feathers that are going to come in handy. So the one additional piece that we need for our book and quill is our ink sac. So it's actually pretty easy in this in a Skyblock world to make a Squid Farm. So let me go ahead and throw all my stuff in a chest, so just in case I make a mistake, and we'll go down here and build a Squid Farm. Building a squid farm in a Skyblock world is almost trivial. We have to do... all we have to do is not die like that. Put the block in the wrong place. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. I think I'm going to die here. The good news is... when you die in Skyblock, in modded Skyblock, you don't lose your stuff. So you can right-click this and say, see the coordinates that where you died, see what your items were, and all I have to do is go back down to where I died. Leaves a little marker. There we go. So all I have to do is dig this up. It'll give me all the stuff I had back, and I can actually build off this. So I didn't quite intend to do it that way, but it seems to have worked out. Do I have my builder's wand? I do. And basically, just by existing down here, I have made a squid farm. So they are going to spawn on that water shaft and make a big old mess here. So we'll give them a nice place to land. By the way, if you want to get rid of these death markers, if you press the letter J, it'll jump into the mapping tool. And let me look at my little shortcut here. Control B is my waypoint manager, and I'll remove this death waypoint. There we go. Let me put my bow tie back on. And my goggles. And my ring. But we'll light this up a little bit. And I'll extend this out into an honest-to-goodness farm. Okay, I had to build up my platform one level so that I could actually put a bottom on these on this water, so it didn't just go through because we were down at level 0. And just sitting here for a few minutes building out the platform, I've got several stacks of ink sacks and a whole bunch of loot bags. So those might be helpful as well to starting to get some stuff. So we might come down here if we're looking for more loot bags, or certainly if we need some more ink sacks. But for now, we will do one final pass to pick those up and head back up on top. We gave ink its own drawer because we've got quite a bit here. I just need to pull out a single one. And if I dig back through these, we've got a lot more stuff coming out here, so I just need one feather for the time being. We will, we need a leather as well. So we're going to make a book first, and then a book and quill. Finally, Quantified Key. So now if I come over here and I right-click this, I can tell just at a glance, if it wasn't already in my little on-screen display on the left-hand side, I can see quantities of everything. So pretty handy. Definitely worth making if you have the resources. The one thing that it may do on my world, I think I mentioned I'm running on a fairly old computer, is it can build lag. So if it does, you can just right-click the controller and it'll pull it all off, and you can put it back on. So we'll just keep our eye on things and see how that works for us here. The one other thing that I think I mentioned earlier in the episode is that with my other quartz, I can make a probe. So basically, if I point to an item and I shift, if I crouch, it'll actually show me the name and the quantity of each of those items in there. So that's handy. It's not quite as useful for drawers since I made that change to the config file, but shoot, you can do it for furnaces. You can do it for chests. You can do it for these double chests. So I don't know if you'll find this handy. You can carry it around with you want. You can actually craft it into a bauble just using a few nuggets. 2, 3, 4. And that basically allows me to put it on my head so that it's there all the time. So again, if you're pointing to a chest and you shift, you can see the items that are in there without a lot of extra work. All right, I think we've accomplished quite a bit in this episode. Let's see what our reward is. So 2 sets of rewards we're going to open here. One is the actual loot chests. I don't think that we accomplished anything else here that we can check off. That is fine. Maybe we can make some diamond mesh or something. Let's see what we got in here. enhanced energy conduits. That actually will come in handy later in the game. But here's what we're going to do with all these loot bags. We can open these one at a time and see what's in them. But there's a handy shortcut. If you shift right-click them in a chest, it'll disappear out of your inventory and appear in the chest. So that's what I'm going to do here. But let me use an iron chest here. And I don't know that I've shown this trick yet. If you take a plank and surround it with iron, you can get an iron upgrade. So you can actually use this to right-click any existing chest, and it'll automatically convert to an iron chest. I can even do it with ones that are already in a double chest configuration, and these become iron chests as well. So pretty handy. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to open my uncommon loot bags. Here's why. You can actually craft them into 4 common loot bags. Now, the same thing is true in the opposite direction. I could craft 4 common loot bags into 1 uncommon one. I can even craft 4 uncommon ones into a rare loot bag. Here's the deal. At this point in the game, I would much rather have quantity than quality. And in fact, the uncommon and rare and higher level loot bags really don't contain that much that's tremendously different. So I'm actually going to go this direction here and break these all down into common loot bags. And we'll right-click all these into the chest. Here's one more trick that you can do to help make that easier. If I right-click, and every chest has a little inventory settings button. If I go into there and do auto refill on, basically, when I shift right-click this, it's going to push a new common loot bag into that same inventory slot. So instead of me having to go and select a different slot, it'll push it there for me. So all I have to do is shift right-click all of these things. Oops, I do not want to do 4 at a time because it doesn't actually open 4 at a time. So let's spread those out. And let's see what we get. There we go. I'll hit the Z to sort it here. Nice. I've got some armor I can put on. I have a lava charm to protect me from burning. I've got some apples, some water, some bread, all sorts of good stuff that we'll definitely be making use of. Some of this won't be quite as useful to us on a practical level. We've got some dark steel, diamonds, and emeralds. So definitely pay attention to your loot bags. Early game, I would definitely recommend crafting them all down into singles. Some of this we'll be using later on. Carbon horse armor, for example, we can throw into a smeltery and smelt down into carbon ingots or carbon blocks. So I think that's about all the time that we have here. We'll put on this armor. And next time, I think we'll probably go ahead and put together our smeltery and see what we can do with that and what good it will do in the game. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Project Ozone LIte.